We got Thad. He's the founder behind El Dorito. If you guys are unfamiliar with it, well, you better get ready because you're going to get familiar with it. TLDR is it's a cross-chain DEX that allows you to swap multiple assets, and they just launched their token called Dorito, and get them while they're cheap. Thad, what's up, man?
Hey, how we doing, Drake? It has probably been the most exciting time in crypto in the past freaking several years for me. So that's been super cool. Yeah, man, it's really interesting. We obviously have been building this product for like 2 years. We were holding off, and we held off on our token. We held off on a lot of big developments. And I've always said that every single crypto token you could put on a scale of, was it launched too early or too late? And in general, if you're looking at like strategy and stuff, too late tends to be better. Too early tends to be the worst option. So we really held off on launching our token for a long time. We kind of rebranded. I can give you the whole backstory, but we were, this cross-chain DEX El Dorado. And then for fun, silly reasons, in coordination with our kind of spiritual advisor, Coach Bruce, we decided, you know what, we're going full send. We're going to go for kind of like the meme angle in addition to our solid DeFi product. And we've just been having so much fun with it. All kinds of different sort of interesting, valuable product directions have arisen since then, like building a Thorchain router. So yeah, man, we're rolling with the punches. So the advice I got from someone early on was basically just be ready to ship something new every 2 weeks. We heard this was kind of an old JP thing, but like you got to be nimble. And a lot of times people will be like, oh, like why is promising you a 2022?
Is it me? I think you're cutting in and out. I lost you. Could be my screen. Let's see. The chat's still here. It might be me. Let me see if I get rid of this screen, see what happens. Yeah, Thad, I think it's your screen. I think your screen's frozen. I'll chat. I'll message you. We'll get him back, guys. But let's go ahead and show you guys El Dorito real quick so you guys can see what's up with it. See what they got going. Just message them, let them know. But don't worry, guys. Worse has happened. All right, let's go ahead and show you guys what El Dorito is while he's doing his thing. He'll be back on soon. But El Dorito, this is cross-chain DEX. Talked about it a couple of times. But El Dorito, the Dorito token is basically both a meme and it's your utility token. This is something that you kind of use in order to get basically free trading. You can see here, if you scroll down, if you want to join the country club, you got to hold 3,333 or 0.01% of the supply to become a Dorito member. But if you want to check out the DEX, it's actually a pretty slick DEX. But it allows you to swap multiple assets on multiple chains. Let's see, share this tab. And Dorito is on the DigiDart list, by the way. So keep that in mind. So as you can see here, if you take a look, this is kind of like your cross-chain swap that you have. This is allowing you to swap on multiple chains. So instead of just swapping on like Solana, you are actually swapping native assets with other native assets. So in this case, this is like native ETH for native Bitcoin. And then, for example, you can do like Solana, some of the meme coins on Solana for other tokens as well. So this is something a little bit different in Thorchain in the fact that he's actually, or the DEX is actually focusing on some of the other meme coins. So I find it pretty interesting, but yeah, he's jumping in the chat. We'll put him back in. Thad, what's up, man?
I'm sorry, you froze, and I was like, he's having problems. I'm going to keep riffing. So I did like 3 minutes of monologue and then was like, we are disconnected somehow. I don't know. I think that was maybe my Wi-Fi or something.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think it was your Wi-Fi. I was just chatting about the DEX for a bit. But where did we leave off? I think we were going into, I think you just That was it.
Okay.
Like we were gonna introduce and go into the decks and Dorito and what you guys are building. Because that's what it was.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Coach Bruce.
Yeah, Coach Bruce. We've had a lot of interesting sort of influence on our project. JP Thor is a big one because he was our biggest investor. Bruce, more recently, has been like a strategic and really just friend of the project. But the bigger thing is us figuring out what form do we want this thing to take and how can we continuously adapt on the fly. We had heard this apparently from working inside with JP, but he's just like, we're going to ship something new every 2 weeks. And we're just going to figure out new stuff to ship. And some people say that means they're all over the place, but it's less about a production schedule and more about being adaptive. So
Right.
we started with a cross-chain DEX, and that offers cross-chain, any token to any token swaps. And our goal is to deliver them with, through our backends, we can deliver them with a comparable slippage and speed and quality to a centralized exchange. So that's the magic of Maya Protocol, Thorchain, Chainflip. Those are our backends. So we're a front end that gives you access to that. You can get all these tokens. You can also get yields on native assets. And if you're a conservative, you can get actually today, 2.07% in Bitcoin on Bitcoin on our yields. That'd be in the savers column there. So yeah, 2.11 Bitcoin savers through Thorchain. Like you could deposit that and get 2%. Some people might think like, oh, that's boring. I wrote a tweet the other day and it was, if you were an enterprising person and you could raise money, you could go raise like a literal hedge fund that only goes and buys Bitcoin and gets that 2%, and you would make a lot of money for your LPs.
Yeah.
So that's actually quite valuable to the OG Bitcoiners. And I have the idea, I want to like spin that yield, the 2% on Bitcoin and Bitcoin. I want its own like golden page, like the Bitcoin keep. Really emphasize that because actually to Bitcoin people, you put it alongside all these other yields and it cheapens it and it makes it seem uncredible. But that 2.11% on Bitcoin and Bitcoin is pretty crazy. But so we have this whole value prop, the cross-chain DEX, the yields, the swaps. You can manage your portfolio here if you connect a wallet. We'll give you your balances. We're rolling out more advanced portfolio tracking. The idea here is between that and our on and off ramp, like this is like your bank and your exchange. You can manage your whole financial life at El Dorito, previously El Dorado. But as things evolved, we decided like we wanted to make it more compelling and have more aspects to it. These are our friends Kado Money. Shouts out
Yeah,
to
this
Finks.
is the coolest part right here. You can
Oh, dude.
on-ramp directly onto it.
And I'm the first one to say, man, like I am the El Dorito power user. I take my paycheck that I get in crypto every week and I sell as much as I need to pay my rent. And like, this is my banking and trading portal. I use El Dorito. And that's kind of, I like working from that perspective of like, what are we building? It's like, I'm building the product that I want to use and that I need for my own life.
El Dorito is, and what I look at it like is the Swiss Army knife for crypto. So it has everything that you need, on ramps, off ramps. It allows you to get on any chain and on any DEX. Like, so for me, like when I'm trading, I have to go to particular DEXs for particular chains. So if I want to trade on base, I got to go on Aerodrome in order to swap base stuff. But I can't swap like Ethereum stuff. It's Ethereum stuff. I got to go on Uniswap. However, like on El Dorito, I can do all that here. I can even trade on Bitcoin. So if I wanted to go get some ordinals and BRC20s, I don't even have to go off ramp onto an exchange and get onto Bitcoin land. I can actually do this directly through El Dorito. So it's just stuff like that that I really like the cross chain infrastructure. I think this is going to be one of the killer dApps going into this bull run. But
complexity, there's been a complexity bubble. It's a freaking headache if you operate in this space. Like how many platforms and wallets and things. And you care so much because it's your money, but it gets so overwhelming. And our goal here, right, is not only your L1s get from Bitcoin to ETH to Solana, but also I like to say you can do full barbell strategy on our platform, which most of us are running barbell strategy, which is Bitcoin and ETH and freaking random meme coin I heard about today. And like, that's the barbell, man. And then maybe you make a lot on the random meme side and you shift it over into the Bitcoin, even though most people don't because we're not all that responsible. But you can do the whole thing with us. And the goal would be you get 500K or $1 million or $2 million. on the safe side, and then you plug it into one of these liquidity pools where you're getting steady yield. And that is like the perpetual money passive income machine. As a piece of alpha and cool fun, and this is through our partners and backend at Thorchain. I don't know. Have you heard about JP's streaming LPs sort of concept?
Stream swap.
No. So streaming LPs, this is really interesting. Imagine this. You create an LP in, let's say, the stablecoin, one of the stablecoin pools that gives you like 15%. So you got stable coins, you're going to get 50% on that. That would go over here on the your positions column. But JP likes to say it, when you buy a restaurant and you're getting income from the restaurant, you don't get that in units of restaurant. So what streaming, I forget if it's streaming LPs or streaming yields is, imagine you have your position, that capital you parked in that pool over here, and that is being streamed to a new wallet as income in stables if you want it. So
that's legit.
His comparison is you buy a restaurant, but you don't want to get paid in units of restaurant. You want to get paid like in cash from the producing asset. So what'll be interesting here is if you can build up that bag and then plug it into a liquidity pool, that can then stream into like an off-ramping wallet that is your passive income. And so I know, yeah.
So basically what you're saying is you deposit into one of these LPs. So let's say I'm in USDT, and obviously the other side of this is Rune because it's USDT Rune pool. So instead of compounding,
that's why so the savers pool there on the far right column, yes, that's a lower yield, but that is single asset exposure. That is 15% APR in stables with no exposure to another asset, so no risk of impermanent loss.
Yeah, so no impermanent loss. So that 2%, like you can see here, this is -4% because Bitcoin is actually outperforming Rune. That's why there's that yield, but it actually works both directions. So if Rune actually outperforms Bitcoin, it goes higher than that. But yeah, the Savers Vaults, it's only just the single asset. But to recap,
here's some numbers, Drake. So this is just taking 15% is, this is talking about passive income and living your life. If you need to live off 60K a year, it means you need to have 400K in that pool sitting there. So 400K parked, and it's getting that 15%. That 15% will give you $60,000 a year to live off of.
That's pretty crazy.
And so this whole streaming yields thing, it'll stream that to another wallet. So rather than like kind of the unclarity of like this bag I have is getting bigger, it's like the bag is this size and the yield is going over here. And if you want to invest that back in the bag, cool. But that could also just be the yield that you live off of.
That's pretty crazy. So if I deposit in this section here, the USDT Rune, am I able to do the stream LP to another wallet? So like I can siphon those yields into another wallet. That way it's not compounding back into there. That way I force myself to take profits or at least pay myself.
Yeah, forcible profit taking. Isn't that an idea?
That's needed. That's much needed, man.
Totally. And so that sort of thing, that's where I like, again, the barbell strategy, right? I mean, parking money in a stable pool for 15% yield, that's for our world, that's super conservative. And so it's like, let's say you go make those 400K or 600K in your meme coins. Now you set up basically like, it's not even a retirement. Well, it is a retirement account, but it's a retirement account now. it's your current retirement. And I see what we're doing is trying to like democratize access to that kind of financial freedom. And that sounds like wishy-washy, but it's actually just about like getting enough money that you can live off of it. And it's not fake money. This isn't like protocol emissions. This is all done through liquidity pools and trading fees. And Thorchain has the scale now to deliver that. The people on Ledger who are trading $8 million, like a recent swap, through Thorchain at a time, those are taking fees and your capital is being used and you get paid those fees.
Right. So this yield is actually actual revenue. This is from swaps. It's not just some random food farm.
Exactly.
So what are the percentages of that? Like what percentage of the swap fees go to the actual yield account, and then what percentage goes to the saver vaults? So like if it's let's say it's a 0.3% swap fee and it generates 100K in revenue for that day, what's the split of that 100K?
So I would have to look into what the numbers are specifically for Thorchain. What it is for the savers pool is that you are refusing to take the risk of taking on dual asset exposure. By extension, someone else on another side of this marketplace is taking that risk. So you are getting half the yield that they are getting. So someone else who is willing to supply dual assets and take the risk of impermanent loss is getting more yield. And you are being more conservative, and therefore you get less yield. But for example, in that tether pool, that amounts to 15%. So still not bad. And yeah.
So let's talk about Dorito. What's this whole gig with Dorito? Why did you launch a coin? Do we even need a coin? Like what's the alpha on this?
Exactly. So that's always a question, and it's a question people don't ask enough. Does this need to exist? So if you used any other platform, basically you need some way to access Thorchain. This would be through interfaces. The paradigm of interfaces in our space, and the one that we have existed in until now, is fee model. So average fees, ThorSwap charges 50 basis points. Other platforms charge 20, 30, 40, 50, somewhere 10 to 50 basis points, depending. And those fees will be applied to you forever, no matter how much volume you do. So we decided we were going to go to the country club model. And we use that as a convenient metaphor for membership, which is that you can use all the amenities of Thorchain and of these cross-chain backends for the swaps and the yields without having to endlessly pay us money. And I have been just like building kind of savings calculators in Excel that show you not only, this isn't like the $4 you lose on your ATM withdrawals, because those $4 do not have huge upside potential. If you are taking a percentage-based fee out of your trades right now in 2024, you will be paying those fees forever with these other interfaces, which are our competition. And you might look back in 2060 at the $2,000 you paid in 2024 Bitcoin. And you have to go back and go, imagine this, what would $2,000 of Bitcoin in 2014, 10 years ago have been worth? So we're trying to hammer home we're not being miserly here. This isn't just $4 out of your ATM withdrawal. This is 50 basis points on your swap in 2024 in Bitcoin. And you lost that and you gave that to ThorSwap. And had you not done that, we can calculate what that total value would be. And it's kind of like WTF.fees, which was like a gas fees tracker of like how much have you spent in gas on Ethereum.
It's crazy.
But then you have to do the calculation of like the time value. If Bitcoin goes to 1 million and you spent $2,000 this year, like that's a real amount of money. So we are trying to cap that total amount you can spend through our membership model. And I didn't explain it, but just owning 3333 of our token gives you membership. Membership means no more fees. So we cap that. You make a one-time purchase of those tokens, and so long as you hold them in your wallet, you can use all of this stuff with no more fees.
This is my favorite part. A lot of people always are like, oh, you got to stake our tokens, or oh, you got to do something with them. It's like, come on, why can't we just like hold them? That's one of my favorite parts about the Dorito model.
So, and this is where in crypto and with people who do this a lot, we get we neglect the fact that any little step of friction is a barrier to people adopting or using your thing. So other platforms have like almost comparable features and stuff. Like you have to go buy this NFT and like stake it, or these tokens and stake them here, or put them in this pool or whatever. Those are all steps of friction. And we just decided like, no, if you have the tokens in your wallet, we read your wallet. If you have those tokens, no fees on our platform. And we can go to all these huge Thorchain swaps. People are spending thousands of dollars in fees per swap very often. Our membership is currently $400 or $500, and you buy it once right now while our token is low, and you are able to experience those feeless swaps for a long time. Now, let me speak to our haters. Our haters say, yeah, bro, it's not lifetime. It's as long as you guys exist, because when you fail, no more feeless. And I say that's speculative. So let's think about it in a different way. Not about time. Think about it as volume. So if you're paying 50 basis points, that means At 100 grand of volume, you paid $500. So if our membership is worth $500, it means any amount over 100K of volume you're going to do on Thorchain or any of this cross-chain stuff, any amount over 100K of volume, you're losing more money than you would have paid to get our membership. And so our premise is simple. What's your break even? If you're doing more than 100K, and not this year, in a lifetime, the membership is lifetime. So I tell people who are like, you're going to fail. It's like, okay, if you put more than 100K through our platform at any time, you are cash flow positive and making money.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Curious, that's only applying to the swaps. Is there in the future maybe applying to Cato? Because I think Cato they charge like a 2% or 3% fee.
Yeah, and so we'd love to get farther in on like other benefits like feeless on and off ramping or fee reduced. What's
Yeah.
really cool, and this is the country club model, right? Think of an old school country club. They might have started with just a golf course and they did well. And then they said, you know what, we're going to build a pool. And now we're going to build a gym. And now we're going to build a pickleball court. And the idea, and what's cool is once you have a community around a membership, people that own 3333 of our token, which right now we're like sending people free merch and cool stuff. And we have gold coins we're giving to bigger holders. But once you have a membership community, you have an incentive to treat them better and better. They will talk positively about your membership and you can expand your offerings. So that's just the entry point is the feeless swaps and stuff, but we can start layering on more and more cool features as time goes on.
That's legit. Okay. Okay, cool. So speaking of features and what's coming, what do you have planned on the roadmap now that you got coin out and basically the DEX is up and rolling?
So two major things here. One, and it's in the part 3 there, but it's of the idea of burning and essentially constricting the number of available memberships we have. So if we implement a burning system for either the membership or when someone becomes a member, we decide to start burning memberships, we as a treasury are net buyers of our chart and of our token. We've been buying them off the market. And so we own more and more of these memberships. Now we could sell them, but we don't want to lose trust with our community. So we might just start burning them. So the question is, this luxury good of feeless swaps, we can constrict the supply and make it more and more scarce, which will increase the value. So burning is part 1. Part 2, and this has been a development in the last few weeks, is building a router. Essentially, the ability to connect to Thorchain and deliver all these services is pretty bottlenecked right now by one company, basically. And we want to help people access it more. So if we build a router that helps more people connect to Thorchain, we are in some ways mediating that volume. And there's the potential for either fee capture or membership model basis like for that. As an example, if you wanted to start a DEX and you wanted a really high functioning router that gives you all this access to Thorchain, maybe our terms are you need to own a enterprise level quantity of Dorito, and then you get access. So if you think about us undercutting and kind of cross-cutting the fee-based model of other DEXs, we can do the same thing at the router level because they're going to charge fees to all their router partners. And we would say, no, we're going to do membership model there as well. We're going to switch the thing. And yeah, not everybody will buy the value prop and want to have a membership for feeless routing, but we are offering this alternative. We think it's disruptive, and it's also just the good vibes of being less extractive and saying like, our goal is not to take limitless amounts of money from you over time. We think that holds a lot of water.
That's legit. Yeah, I think one of my favorite parts about the Dorito is the lifetime membership, because most of the other models, some will do like revenue share, some will do reduced trading, but none of them have done the free model, which is kind of a huge selling point for me because I'm the type of person who's just like, I like to just pay it, be done with it. That's what it is. I hate having those fees. Like you go to the store and you have like credit card and cash. I'm the guy who's like, I'll pay you cash. I want to avoid that fee. That's just for me at least. So speaking
totally,
of
the freedom of mind, there's an interesting psychological part, right? Which is every time you have to pay fees, it hurts a little bit. And for a lot of people, it would just feel better to pay a lot of things at once and then just be done and know that you're done. A classic example is I buy a half cow at a time. I have a big freezer. I buy a half cow. I don't have to take the sticker shock of buying meat twice a week. I have plenty of meat in my fridge. I paid a couple thousand for it. And then I have 6 months to a year of beef whenever I want it. And I don't have to experience that sticker shock and just the bummer and the cost. And overall, I also know that I'm saving money by buying that at a bulk price that's high quality, but also it doesn't have this unlimited amount that I can pay over and over again every week. And I love that.
And it's much better than the garbage that they got at the store anyways.
Yeah.
So I wanna ask you about the meme coins, because I'm a dude who likes to trade a lot of meme coins. What are your plans with getting different meme coins listed? I know you got several of them already, but what does it take to get a meme coin whitelisted on here?
So this gets into this interesting question of curation. And in a totally decentralized kind of like DEX format, you don't have any curation, and protocols kind of shirk the responsibility of saying to their users, like, here is what we think is a good idea. And if you don't think that's a good idea, you can choose something else. So there is an interesting degree to which we can curate and recommend things that we think are good to our community based on our taste. And rather than that, so I like to say our tech and the software is decentralized and the blockchains are decentralized, but taste and curation, it's actually helpful to be centralized there. So for an example, our country club, people in our country club are all in this internal chat. This week, we were talking about this meme coin Queen, Do Queen. It's a feminized Do Quan, and it's run by our spiritual advisor, Coach Bruce. And from just our taste and curation, we said, this is a really good buy right now. And that's what it's done in the last week. Or sorry, the last really day or two. Look at those dates, right? So
it's crazy, dude.
I think it went from when we posted it and recommended it, it went from 200K market cap to now 2.5 mil. And that's just a 2.5 mil coin.
That pays for your Dorito membership right there.
Right? And so an interesting piece that we get into with these members is once we're all kind of an insiders group, we're able to share information and give recommendations. And for us on the protocol side, like we can recommend tokens we think are good and list them or feature them on our site. And, we're not going to be insider trading. We're not going to be like doing low integrity things, but there is value in curation. And if you are Spotify or iTunes, if you offer all music equally, you're not curating well. You're not taking the responsibility of saying, hey, based on the things you like, here is what you might like further. So, and that comparison isn't like 100%, but our plan is to have some amount of information arbitrage because we are full-time builders and full-time watchers of this whole space, and we're well connected. So for something like Queen, here's the alpha. Queen is going to release their AI agent, an AI feminized Do Quan agent that runs their Twitter pretty soon, and they haven't done it yet. And that's what a lot of the alpha is there. And so we tell people that, are we sure that we're right? No, not at all. So far, we've been pretty right with this one, but our goal is to find aligned projects, find things that really do seem promising, and see if we can share them for the benefit of the community. So there's an interesting in-group community aspect with this token-based membership because there are only enough spaces for 10,000 memberships. And then of those, we've bought enough off the market that there's not that many available. So the people who are members get into our chats, get into our community, and we can share fun alpha and all just meme together and stuff.
Yeah, this is what I love about Dorito. It's not, we aren't really, I mean, yeah, sure, it's a project, but I think what it predominantly is it's a community, and Dorito is kind of like what's the symbol of the community is. I mean, people may not understand it now, but once you get a part of it and get a vibe for it and become a part of it, you will start to understand and it will start to click. I think what will be interesting in the future is as the community gets larger and as it grows, it'd be cool to be able to like projects might target the Dorito Chads by airdropping their wallets who have a certain amount. So I mean, like it's literally like it's a country club, exactly what you're saying. So
Dude,
it's like an exclusive membership.
so a country club, here's one of my visions for it. So not only that, you nailed that on the head, which I didn't tell Drake this earlier, but one of our ideas is, hey, we want to work with your project, help market it, and also give us some amount of token, and we're going to airdrop it to the country club. And it's
This is so
almost like
legit.
a mixture.
It's awesome.
Imagine this, an exchange listing, a pump group, a community. It's all of that bundled together, and we can offer that to projects that we do due diligence on. And then beyond that, so that's like one of the benefits when people ask, what are the benefits you revenue sharing? Like, we can revenue share. That could be an additional thing in the future. Right now, it's just feeless access to everything. It's also the alpha of being in the community. And you're right, like what happens moving forward, we could totally be airdropping or promoting these tokens to our friends. And it all, again, like I said before, once you have a membership, we have the incentive to make that membership as valuable and fun and engaging as we possibly can. And I mean, look at the token chart there. I don't think it's too crazy to say that like that is pretty poised and stable to break upwards as the market.
I don't care about charts. I just look at cap at a 5 mil cap. It's like, bro, like, come on. That's literally like a beach ball underwater, especially once the community takes off. I mean, I like you. It's just maybe people will understand in the future. We'll
Yeah,
see.
and I think it's a hidden secret right now, and it's kind of, it's kind of fun that way. And we are building with the confidence that people are going to find out, man. People are, if you build something of true value that isn't clearly a time capped 1 week fad, there's real value behind it, but then there's also this dynamic energy of what we could build it into, what we could layer onto the membership. It's a no-brainer because the reality is most tokens don't really come with a benefit other than their speculative upside.
Yep.
And like, yes, we have speculative upside, but we're building all these other pieces of utility and kind of value on top of it.
Amen.
Yeah, dude, we're excited.
Well,
It's a lot of fun.
Well, Thad, what should we be looking at going forward, and what would you? Are there any thoughts in particular that you want to close this out with?
Well, so first of all, just like the game theory of what we're doing and what it means and how to get value from it. So the core value you will get is buying 3333 tokens, which is not a lot of money right now, and starting to use our platform for your trading, which is Feeless. And over time, you will become cash flow positive and you can think about it as gaining money through that which you did not lose. So like as a very simple, you can ignore our meme and our marketing and our sick edits that are all over our page. We have all this cool stuff. Ignore that. Right now, you want the 3333 because it will give you the Feeless access. And that is a literal immediate economic value to you as you do your transactions. Beyond that, if you own higher multiples of that number, what you are doing effectively is not just owning a token, you are owning future members' means to get in. So if you had 4x 3333, that would mean that you own more memberships than you need, and those memberships are available to a person in the market at a later date. So not telling you have to do that, but that's kind of the rationale that these chunks of token are desired for their Feeless utility. And then beyond that, let's say that we do decide to airdrop an amount of tokens to membership slices pro rata. That would mean that if you own 5 tokens, you get 5 slices of that. Or sorry, five membership slices. So the things to look out for would be both our rolling out of our router, which is super bullish and just good marketing, and we want to give people access to a lot of stuff. The potential deflationary side of the token should we implement a burn system, but then in the immediate sense, just the simple premise that's here right now of it is valuable to get Feeless access to our backends and to Thorchain and to all this cross-chain stuff. And we offer that right now. And we're only going to layer on more utility from there and ideally increase scarcity. So all of that is pretty bullish. we will probably have more to come in terms of what we layer on as we adapt with the landscape. But right now, we think that is pretty cool, pretty valuable. And also, I just want to bring it back to just the meat and potatoes of our interface is pleasurable to use. It feels good. It is fun. It is super functional and intuitive. And for anybody who hasn't tried it, if you doubt me, like go try one of our competitors and try swapping or LPing with us. It is a good experience. And we are super excited to bring that to you, especially as we've built our own router and we're totally tech independent.
Yeah, my favorite part is the little icons that explain what you're depositing into and what you're doing. So I love it, man. I love what you built, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are bringing out. I always like to bet on people, so you're one of those I'm betting on.
Dude, well, Jake, it's great working with you, man. And yeah, love your energy. I think we're headed for really great times here. And, you know, think about if our freaking government under a new administration starts building up a Bitcoin reserve, the number of people that are going to be getting in, the number of institutions, and then by extension, how many of those institutions want 2% on their Bitcoin in Bitcoin? And
get them some Doritos. Get them in the club.
Yeah. So we'll see. Right now, it's kind of, you know, the DeFi native sort of product, but we can roll it into more and more normie friendly things as time goes on through various mechanisms. So we're super excited. There's going to be, it's hard to predict always what's going on. We didn't know we were going to roll out our router publicly until a few weeks ago. That has now come to pass. And so the meme token's live, the DEX functions, our backend is basically up and running and working. That's our own. And yeah, man, we're just swinging for the fences, having a lot of fun. The token, we looked at the chart, the token looks great. So it's exciting. And we appreciate that you're on board with us.
Dude, that's what it's all about. And it's an honor to be here. As always, though, I do like to close out every pod and every episode with a wisdom one-liner. I got Proverbs chapter 19 verses 20 highlighted. I don't know if you want to choose one or if you got a favorite one, but I'll spit this one out. And if you got one we want to go into, we can do that one. But listen to advice and accept discipline. And at the end, you will be counted among the wise. Advice and discipline.
I love
Wise
that.
words right there.
Scroll up.
All right. Which one?
Higher.
You're going to be the guy who does this
well,
one.
Yeah, no, you got me. How did you know? Of course.
Dude, that was legit.
The closest friend of the poor person deserts them. one to meditate on, as we all are playing for wealth, but there's greater implications and greater values at stake.
That's so true. That's true. So true. Don't be poor, guys. Get some money.
Cool, guys.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Thanks for tuning in, Drake. It's freaking good to talk to you, my friend. And yeah, man, we got great stuff coming. If anybody has questions, we're always reachable. Our team is very on the ball. It's our full-time jobs, and a lot of good things to come from El Dorito.
Awesome. Thad, I appreciate you jumping on, man. We'll have to have you